My first step inside. The little bell above the door jingled as I stepped inside, and suddenly, oh, the warm, sweet smell of fresh bread wrapped around me like a hug. My eyes widened. Shelves were piled high with golden brown loaves, some round, some long, some dusted with flour. Glass cases sparkled with rows of pastries, flaky ones, shiny ones, some with swirls of chocolate. I had never seen so many delicious things in one place. Nervous but curious, my heart beat faster. I wanted to try everything, but what if I said the wrong words? At home, I practiced simple English phrases, but now, standing in front of the bakery counter, my mind felt blank. A friendly baker in a flour-dusted apron smiled at me. "Good morning," she said. I took a deep breath. "Good morning," I replied softly. Pointing at a long, thin loaf, I whispered, "What is this?" "A baguette," the baker said, tapping it lightly. "Crispy outside, soft inside. Very tasty." I repeated the word, rolling the "et" sound on my tongue. Then I spotted a curved, buttery-looking pastry. And this? Ah, a croissant. She laughed as I tried to say it. Croissant. Then gently corrected me. As I left with a small paper bag, holding one warm croissant, my first ever, I touched the bakery's doorframe, promising myself, next time, I'll order all by myself. Chapter 2. Learning New Words. My fingers left little smudges on the glass display case as I pressed closer, my breath fogging up the surface. The morning sunlight made everything sparkle, the sugar-dusted pastries, the shiny glazed buns, even the flour floating in the air like tiny stars. Yesterday I had been too nervous to look properly, but today I wanted to know everything. "See this?" The baker's voice startled me as she appeared behind the counter, pointing to the curved golden pastry I'd tried yesterday. "Croissant," she said slowly, shaping the word with her mouth like she was tasting it. "Croissant quoi?" "Sun," I repeated, feeling the strange sounds roll off my tongue. It didn't sound at all like it looked. The baker laughed, not unkindly, and broke off a tiny piece for me to try. The buttery flakes melted on my tongue as she said it again. Croissant. We moved down the counter together, my notebook filling with scribbles. The long, skinny bread wasn't just breadstick, like I'd thought. It was a baguette, which the baker demonstrated by tucking it under her arm like the French do. The shiny coating on the cinnamon rolls was called glaze, and when I touched my finger to it, it stuck sweetly to my skin. "Sweet," the baker said, pointing to the jam-filled donuts. Then she gestured to the other side of the case. "Savoury." She showed me cheese twists and olive bread, making me taste the difference. The words felt thick in my mouth at first, but after repeating them 5, 6, 7 times, they started to feel familiar. When we got to the muffins, I surprised myself. "Blue, berry?" I asked, recognizing the purple dots inside. The baker's eyes lit up. "Yes." blueberry muffin. She clapped her floury hands together, leaving white clouds in the air. By the time I left, my head buzzed with new words, my notebook crammed with messy notes and little drawings. The bakery wasn't just a shop anymore, it was becoming my classroom. And the best part, every lesson came with something delicious to taste. As I stepped out into the street, I found myself whispering the words under my breath, each one feeling more like mine than the last. Croissant, baguette, glaze, muffin, dough. I couldn't wait to practice them all again tomorrow. Chapter 3. Practicing how to order. My stomach fluttered like the pages of my notebook as I stood outside the bakery for the third morning in a row. Yesterday's lesson had filled my head with delicious new words. But today would be different. Today I needed to make those words come alive. The bell jingled as I pushed the door open, my mouth already practicing silent phrases. The baker looked up from arranging muffins and broke into a smile. Ah, my best student returns. Her hands left flour fingerprints on her apron as she wiped them. Ready for today's lesson. I nodded, gripping my notebook like a life preserver. I want to order, for real. My voice came out smaller than I'd hoped. The baker leaned across the counter, her eyes twinkling. Then we practice first, like rehearsal for a play. She gestured to the display case. Pick your favorite. I pointed to the croissant, its layers shining golden under the lights. The baker shook her head playfully. No pointing. Use your new words. Taking a deep breath, I tried. Can I have croissant, please? The sentence stumbled out awkwardly, each word heavy on my tongue. Perfect, the baker clapped. Now try music. She sang the phrase like a little melody. Can I have a croissant, please? I giggled, but tried again, this time with the rhythm she'd shown me. The words flowed better, like they'd been oiled with butter. We practiced with different pastries. Can I have a muffin, please? Can I have a baguette, please? Until my shoulders began to relax. Then came the scary part. Now, the baker said dramatically, the money question. She held up a pain au chocolat. How much is this? She enunciated each word like it was its own special ingredient. I repeated after her. Then we role-played. She was the customer, I was the baker. Then we switched. My thank you started as a whisper, but grew stronger each time. When an actual customer entered, the baker winked at me. Watch and learn. I observed how the woman ordered confidently, how the baker responded. The exchange was like a beautiful dance with words. As I left with my real croissant, ordered all by myself, I replayed the phrases in my head like a song. The bakery had given me more than breakfast. It had given me the keys to a new world of conversation. I couldn't wait to tell my notebook all about it. And maybe, just maybe, Try ordering 2 things tomorrow. Chapter 4. Writing about favourite treats. Title: The day at the bakery. The afternoon sunlight spilled across my kitchen table as I carefully laid out my treasures. The last buttery crumbs of my croissant, a smudge of chocolate from the muffin, and my notebook, its pages already wrinkled from eager flipping. Today had been a victory. I had spoken, really spoken, and now I needed to catch all those precious words before they fluttered away like flower in the breeze. I opened to a fresh page and wrote the date at the top, my pen pressing hard with excitement. Then, slowly, in my best English, my favourite bakery things. The croissant came first. I sketched its curved shape, the layers like folded petals. My tongue remembered the taste as I wrote. I love croissants because they are buttery and flaky. When I break them, they sound like little whispers. The word flaky made me smile. Yesterday, it had been just a word the baker taught me. But today, it was mine, tied to a real, crispy memory. Next, the chocolate muffin. I drew it lopsided. Art was never my strength, with wobbly chocolate chips peeking out. The chocolate muffin was... I paused, chewing my pen. The baker had called it delicious, but that didn't feel big enough. I added, like a warm hug. The chips melt sweet in my mouth. My stomach growled just writing it. Then, because I was brave now, I added a new word from today. The baguette is crunchy outside but soft inside. Perfect for dipping in soup. I doodled a bowl next to it, steam curling up in squiggly lines. As I wrote, I realised something wonderful. The bakery wasn't just a place anymore. It lived in my notebook now, in these smudged, imperfect pages, where English didn't feel scary. It felt like sharing secrets with myself. I closed the book and ran my fingers over its cover, already imagining tomorrow's entry. Maybe I'd try a pain au chocolat next. And oh, I'd need a whole new page to describe that. Chapter 5. The Smells and Tastes of the Bakery. I closed my eyes and breathed in deeply as I stepped through the bakery door, no longer needing the jingling bell to announce my arrival. The air itself hugged me hello, warm and golden, swirling with secrets I could almost taste before I even ordered. Cinnamon. That was the first note, sharp and sweet, like someone had captured autumn and baked it into the walls. Beneath it, something deeper. Yeast. The sleepy, earthy smell of bread waking up in the oven. And was that honey? Or maybe vanilla? My nose twitched, trying to catch every thread of the story. I pressed my hands against the glass case, watching the baker slide a tray of fresh croissants behind it. Their edges gleamed like they'd been dipped in sunlight, and when she handed me one, it practically sighed under my fingers. Crispy, that was the word I'd written in my notebook yesterday. But now, biting into it, I discovered layers. The crackle of the crust giving way to folds of dough so soft, They melted against my tongue before I could chew. Butter bloomed in my mouth, rich and toasty, and I had to stifle a laugh. How could one thing be so many textures at once? At the table by the window, I unwrapped my second treasure, a cinnamon roll, its icing still slightly warm. The first bite was sticky and messy, sugar clinging to my lips. Sweet, yes, but also something darker underneath, like the spice was telling a secret the glaze couldn't hide. I ate slowly, watching the baker chat with customers, their voices weaving into the clatter of trays and the hiss of the coffee machine. This was more than just food. The bakery had become a place where crispy and soft weren't just words in my notebook. They were feelings I could hold, where warm meant both the heat of fresh bread and the baker's smile when she corrected my pronunciation, where every scent was a map and every taste a kind of courage. I licked the last bit of icing from my finger, already planning my next visit. Maybe tomorrow I'd try something new. Maybe tomorrow I'd describe it all in English without stumbling. But for now, I simply sat there, full and happy, letting the smells wrap around me like a promise. There will always be more to learn here. The love of the Father